autism by avoiding things like microwaves, antibiotics and bread. I kid you not. Experts, of course, will tell you and they'll stress that autism is not a disease and that CEASE, which stands for Complete Elimination of Autistic Spectrum Expression, has no scientific credibility whatsoever, which will also explain why some are asking why the Professional Standards Authority watchdog accredits the Society of Homeopaths.
Well, it shouldn't, should it? I mean, at the end of the day, homeopathy is basically sugar pills. And the CEASE recommends high levels of different vitamins, and it can be fatal. You know, it can kill.
Right?
Oh, yes.
I just assumed that this was literally just one step up from giving kids Smarties and telling them it was going to sort them out.
Oh, no, I'll tell you why it's so dangerous. You've got parents who, and it's not only autism that's being targeted, it's diseases like cancer. So you've got parents that are using these treatments and turning away from medically approved, scientifically proven, regulated, prescribed treatments, which is obviously very dangerous. And when you give that negative rhetoric message that autism can be cured,
yes,
or purged or healed, it's sending a very bad message.
That autism itself is bad, evil, and needs to be rid of.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, if you follow the Vaxxed, which is Andrew Wakefield's campaign and so on, homeopathists say that autism is heavy metal poisoning, so you have to do a heavy metal detox. They will also say that if their methods don't work, which they wouldn't work to do anything anyway. Not that children and autistic adults have heavy metal poisoning. But if it was heavy metal poisoning, the next thing that they would recommend would be chelation, which killed a British child in 2005 in the US.
What is that?
Chelation, which is where they use, he had IV chelation, so it's a proven medical treatment for people that have been working down mines and things like that. Yeah, and it releases chelators into the blood, which latch onto any sort of metal. It doesn't discriminate, so it will take away calcium, zinc, iron, and it will deplete the sources of the body completely. So the child who died of hypocalcemia, which was caused by the,
I mean,
he was autistic.
I mean, if you set this against a backdrop, I gave it a cursory glance. I can remember seeing, and in fact I checked, I've seen homeopathic autistic cure stories going back to 2012, and from memory they go back far longer than that. And here we are in 2020, and it strikes me that the strongest sort of caveat handed down so far is that the Society of Homeopaths mustn't advertise for these, quack snake oil cures, and needs to get their act together within 3 months. It doesn't particularly sound like the hardest of lines.
No. Anybody who's touting CEASE or saying that autism can be cured, purged or healed, I believe should be prosecuted.
Do you get frustrated that parents
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because I've been doing this for 5 years.
Well,
I get frustrated.
I totally get it. I totally get it. But I guess in one sense, we were talking about vitamin drips the other day with Dr. Ellie Cannon, an NHS GP, and we were asking why anybody in their right mind would pay £225 to have a multivitamin drip, which Dr. Ellie Cannon said equated to 2 glasses of slightly salty water and a vitamin tablet. I mean, in actual cost, if you did it yourself, you could probably have the same treatment for under a penny, and yet people pay £225. I'm sitting there thinking, I can appreciate some of my friends have children on the spectrum, and maybe they want to do something about it and do what they think will improve that child's sort of life outcomes. But I just can't believe that parents in the digital age, when they can look and check things up online, are paying for these treatments.
This is the problem. They're checking things up online and not listening to professionals. And one of the first things as a parent, I'm a parent of autistic children, I'm autistic myself, and one of the first things you do when you hear that your child may be autistic is go and Google. And straight away up comes heavy metal poisoning, ABA, which is a compliance-based training program. You know, it's all very negative, and parents do want to help their children. You know, they do believe that these things are credible, and they're not going to their, you know, registered GPs and saying, can I give my child this? Should this be used? They're just going ahead because they are told that their GPs work for Big Pharma. You know? Don't believe anything that the GPs tell you because they don't want you to heal your child. It's that sort of message.
It's as you relay this, and I've had people relay this in all seriousness rather than a sort of sense of parody. You just, I mean, I just, the idea that doctors don't want to help your child and some quack can come up with you know, fake evidence to win you round. I just don't understand how any parent falls for it. But I guess, I mean, I was going to round up by asking for your thoughts on the sort of anti-vax movement because you've already alluded to it. I mean, it taps right into this madness.
Yeah, we protested. My organisation, I protested the Vax 2 premiere at the Tabernacle in Notting Hill on the 26th of January, and the attitude was just appalling. You know, it was appalling.
In what sense?
The whole rhetoric is appalling. You know, we had parents taking toddlers in, taking autistic teenagers in. You know, and one parent, I did challenge him. I said, why are you taking your son in to see a film that's going to tell him he's damaged and that he's an epidemic and a Holocaust? And she said that she needed to show him what had happened. You know, and the psychological damage that these parents are doing to their children, telling them that they're at fault, that they're a disease, it's heartbreaking.
I mean, I'm listening to you, and I'm thinking. We started this with the question as to whether or not the Society of Homeopaths should.
I know. Sorry, I'm
well,
taking somewhere else.
Not at all. And I'm more than happy with the direction the conversation's gone. But we started off by asking why the PSA, the Professional Standards Authority, still accredits the Society of Homeopaths, and then we've ended up sort of on a broader look at the sort of health lies that have this whole anti-vax industry. And I'm sitting here thinking, and I'm sure you've thought about this many times before. You know, we have government introduced laws to regulate just about every aspect of my life, and I'll go down the pub later on tonight, and what I drink, how I can drink it, the length of time I'm allowed to drink it, all governed by law. And yet, really, it's like the Wild West on the internet with regards to these quack cures. And you must be thinking...
I've been fighting for a legislation, Matthew, for 5 years to put something in place to say that it should be illegal to tout, advise, or prescribe or, you know, promote anything that says that you can cure autism. You know, I've reported 13 parents in the UK alone for using MMS, the chlorine dioxide bleaching treatment. I've reported a parent for using turpentine on her 2-year-old twins here.
God!
Yeah, so, you know, there does need to be something put in place. I have worked with Parliament, I've worked with the Westminster Autism Commission, I've reported them to the police and social services, and to be honest, the response is usually, but these poor parents are so desperate. And that's the rhetoric we need to get rid of, because these parents are abusing their children.
Well said.
But the way that public perception is with autism is that you can do anything to an autistic child because the parents are so desperate, and it's so heartbreaking.
Emma, I've got to leave it there for now, I'm afraid, but your passion for this subject radiates, and I'm so grateful you gave up a little bit of your Friday afternoon to share your thoughts with us once again. Emma Dalmain, autism advocate and activist against all autistic mistreatments. Now, we started, as I said, by looking at the Society of Homeopaths and their professional credibility, and we have a statement from them. They've issued a couple of statements over the course of the day. The first two